Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do another disc dye on a clear glue bed. So this one's a bit different to the shaving cream that you saw in the previous video. And in this video, we're going to do it on a Westside Disc Giant in tournament plastic. It's a nice white one. I picked it up from Bray. Thanks Bray, really appreciate that one. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Let's head downstairs into my dyeing setup and get going. As for the dyes that I'm using, I've got iDye poly. So I've got gunmetal, blue, black, orange, and lilac. They're diluted in acetone and a little bit of water just to mix it in. Probably not gonna use all of the colors. They're the colors that I have to work with. So I've done a Gatekeeper in tournament plastic and it came out awesome. That was on a conditioner bed, so I haven't actually done a light disc like this on a glue bed. So I'm really excited for this one. It's a little bit more involved. I'm gonna use this RPM Temoko disc. So this one's great as a bed disc. Also fun for playing catch. It was actually my first ever disc golf disc when I started in the Queensland Gardens. So this is where it all started, and now it's helping me make my dyes. All right, so I'm using this clear glue. Just got this from Kmart. It was $3 a bottle. It was the cheapest I could find. I'm gonna probably use up the rest of this bottle and then use the other one. So with this, you're just looking for a nice surface, nice and even across the entire disc. Now, you're probably gonna get air bubbles. I don't really have a great solution. I know that you can let it wait for a little while and kind of let them naturally settle, but I generally use a pin and I just go around and prick it. If they don't burst, you can kind of just like move them to the edge, and at least at the edge they won't be as noticeable compared to in the center. Crack into this one. Look at that. So you generally get a lot less bubbles from a fresh bottle. And so I'm just gonna fill this up just to kind of almost the edge of the rim, because obviously once you put the disc in, you can press it down, give it a bit of weight, and that'll make sure the entire plate of the disc is sitting inside the glue. One thing you do have to be aware, once you've got your dyes and stuff and your disc is sitting in here, make sure you keep it flat, because I've set my discs to cure overnight and I didn't realize that the table was slightly wonky, and I came back in the morning and everything was like slumped to one side. It didn't affect it too much, but it's something to look out for. You could get some funky results if you're not careful. So I've got a couple of bubbles here. I'm just gonna go around and pop them. Hopefully they're not too difficult to pop. This one's already difficult. Get some paper towel and get the glue off. Yeah, some are definitely trickier customers than others. Not really sure if there's a foolproof method of doing this. I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to my dyes. They're just kind of a bit of fun, kind of personalize the discs. Every single dye is unique, so I'm not too fussed if there are bubbles in them. Obviously, if you're doing it more commercially and professionally, you want to make sure that they're nice and as clean as possible. Now it's time to choose what dyes I want to drop in here. So I'm going to go for kind of like a marbly cosmic swirl, purpley, blue, orange, which I really like that combo. There's a blue stamp on this Giant, so I reckon that would actually work quite cool. So I might go for blue, black, orange, and I could experiment with some lilac. I might actually do a lilac sprinkle. So similar to the powder sprinkle, I might just add some of that in and hopefully it comes through. I've just got these Systema little dropper. They're actually sauce containers. I couldn't really find any decent eyedropper bottles to store stuff in. So I got these. They actually work quite well. They don't drop super consistently, but it's good enough for the kind of dyeing that I do. So I'm actually gonna start with orange. So I'm gonna start with a bright color, set a bit of a base down. I don't really have a plan for this design. I'm just gonna start going and hope for the best. Problem about this red disc is it's actually quite hard to see the orange underneath. So I'm gonna lay down a relatively generous amount of dye, purely because previously I've been a little bit hesitant to put too much down and it hasn't actually dyed much at all. So I'm gonna do some big blobs, really get it down. Also with the lighter colors, sometimes you can't see them as well. So you don't actually know how much you're putting down. Give these a little shake to make sure they're fully combined. All right, now for some blue. So obviously here you can already see the blue's far more visible. You want to make sure you put enough right out on the edge. Ooh, got a bit of a reaction happening with the orange, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's looking nice. Ooh, yeah. Combining them a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. Now some black. I don't want to use too much black here. Just kind of use it as a bit of a contrast like I did with the other giant. So I just put a few drops here and there. A little bit goes a long way. Nice. Cool, so I'm gonna give this a swirl. Start swirling and see what happens. So I'm just gonna use a skewer, move it around. I might go down to the pin if this is a little bit too heavy for the glue medium. Kind of depends, sometimes they're a little bit different. I've also got a straw for some blowing. I find it, I don't know if it's the dye medium that I've got or the actual glue bed. It's a little bit too resistant. It doesn't kind of like float around the surface, so probably won't use this for this particular one, but it's a method you can choose if you've got the right combination of mediums. So I'm just gonna start swirling this kind of randomly. Gonna go around the outside first. Like a 4-leaf clover, but a lot smaller. I'm gonna go in the middle and do kind of figure of 8s. There we go. Already looking very cool. It's really hard to see where you've got dye and where you don't have dye, especially in the orange bits. But I can tell that there's a lot around the outside that hasn't actually got dye and a lot of bits in between my streaks where there's no dye. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see it a bit better. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more dye. Might go some blue. Just kind of around the outside where I know that it might not necessarily reach the edge. And a touch more in the middle, yeah, that's good. And I might actually add a bit more orange, just to kind of increase that color saturation. Been stung by that in the past where it hasn't looked as intense as I would have expected. There's some bits here that may get a little bit muddy, but that's just what it is. Hopefully be able to kind of tease that out, spread it around a bit more. Really making sure I get it all around the outside, right to the edge. I'm liking the look of that. Really hard to tell what you're gonna have before you put the disc in, obviously. But I think that's looking quite nice. So I'll get a close-up of it before I put in the lilac. As you can see, there's a few bubbles, but just have to live with that. Okay, time to sprinkle some lilac on. Same situation as before. So this will just give it some kind of speckles throughout, just a bit of interest. Might kind of try to avoid the stamp. No, actually I'm gonna put it on the stamp. I think that could be quite cool. So I'm gonna aim for the middle section. That is one thing you can do right now, is kind of determine where the top's gonna be. So if you've got a stamped disc that you're keeping the stamp, you can kind of decide what design you want underneath the stamp. And I quite like the West Side stamps, so I generally keep them on. And then I can decide where I want the top to be. I reckon that's quite cool. Alrighty, so I'm ready to put this one into the bed. Just holding by the edges. Putting it in by the bottom first to make sure that there's no air bubbles. Gently rocking it in and pushing down. Oop, had a little bit too much enthusiasm on the top side. It's kind of come over the edge here, but that's fine. I don't mind if it bleeds in a little bit. It's all part of the handmade nature of these discs. Making sure that it's pushed in right to the edge. And you can already see here, the orange does come through once it's against the white of the disc. So I'm just going to position this. You can already tell that this table is not quite even. So I might just tip it up a little bit. Cool, that's looking good. All right, so I might let this sit for a little while, probably about 16 hours. We'll come back and we'll see you tomorrow. It's been about 20 hours. We're going to do this one, the white tournament on the glue bed. I'm super excited for this one. It's gonna look awesome. Let's take it outside and get it out of the bed. Okay, so the reason that I like to do it in the tub is so that you can kind of manage how much glue gets down the sink. It's obviously not the best thing to pour down the sink, so you can try to manage that as much as possible. All right, so this one, just peel it out. Doesn't matter if it kind of gets a bit shaken up because you're about to wipe it all off. Get it in there. This does take a bit of effort to get it off. Grab this cloth. Oh, I can already see this looks awesome. There's a bit of white still showing. Glue's dried quite a lot. I've got a little bit of dish soap in the water, which can help it dissolve a bit, but mostly elbow grease here. Sometimes it does dry on the edges and you get these little bits that you can just peel off. Kind of depends how it's been sitting. Oh, looks so good. There we have it. All right, so I'm going to take this one up into the studio, show you up there, but pretty much done. See you up in the studio. Okay, we're upstairs now, and without further ado, here is the second giant with the glue bed dye. Look at that swirly goodness. Oh yeah. So this one is awesome. I'm stoked with this. I love swirl dyes. They're just so cool. And the dry powder speckle on the top, you can see here, turned out so well. Just gives it a bit of interest. Something different going on. You can see there is a bit of orange here. It's not super strong, but I think it gives some good contrast throughout. I'm really happy with this one. I'm gonna be throwing this one a lot, I think. Yeah. Super happy with that. I especially like that this bit here on his head is orange, so it's almost like I've colored in his face. Thank you so much for watching this video doing glue dyeing. It's so much fun. I look forward to doing more on this channel. So let me know, again, what kind of discs you want me to dye, what kind of dye techniques you want me to do, and it should be fun to keep experimenting. But thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this video around. I'm really excited to grow this channel and get more people into disc golf, doing different fun stuff. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.